Hello and welcome to the final bit of Tangerine this week, which is on page 50 if you're following along, and it's Tuesday, September the 5th. Mum and I had just returned home from the supermarket. We were unloading her station wagon, carrying bags of groceries from the garage into the kitchen, when Eric and Arthur pulled up in the Land Cruiser. There was mud splattered all over the sides, all over the tinted windows, and even up on the centre spotlight. Eric got out of the passenger side and walked up to Mum slowly and solemnly. Arthur got out and followed him. Eric stopped just inside the garage and said, "Mike Costello was dead, Mum. He got killed at practice today." Mum and I stopped still, the supermarket bags weighing down our arms. Neither of us moved or knew what to do next. We stared at him, speechless, until he continued in the same voice. He was just standing there in the end zone. He had one hand on the goalpost, leaning on it, and kaboom! There was a crack and a flash, and he went flying through the air. He landed right on his back, right there on the goal line. By now, Mum was staring hard at him, trying to understand the point of his speech. "Eric, the boy who was here, Mike, is dead." "Dead before he hit the ground. Arthur and I went over and looked at him, right?" Arthur spoke up. "Right. The whole left side of his hair was burned off, singed right off, you know." Mum still did not seem to comprehend. She struggled for words. What? Eric, tell me exactly what you did." "Me? Nothing. There was nothing I could do. Coach Warner, all the other coaches, they surrounded him. They started banging on his chest," Arthur added, "banging on him. Doing CPR, everybody was going nuts. Dad started running up to his car phone, dialing 911. Mum said, Your father called 911? "Yeah, ambulances came, cop cars came. They had this power pack thing, you know." Arthur said, "Jump starting him. They were trying to jump start his heart. They were sticking needles in him, everything. But nothing worked because he was already dead. He was dead before he hit the ground." "What about Jack? Jack Costello, was he there watching all this?" "No, I didn't see him. I think his brother was there." Eric looked over at Arthur. "Was that his brother?" Arthur said, "Yeah," and seemed to fight back a smile. Eric continued, "His little brother freaked out. He went crazy. He kept trying to take off Mike's shoes. I thought the coach was going to have to smack him. He wouldn't get out of the way. He just kept trying to take off his shoes. Did you see that?" Eric looked at Arthur again, who covered his face with his hand. Mum picked up the phone. She tried to reach Dad, first at his mobile number, then through his office beeper, but she couldn't. I asked her, "Should I call Joey?" No, we can't call the Costellos now. We can't intrude on them now." Mum banged out another number on the phone. "I'm going to try the school." There was no answer at school either. Mum stood there staring at the bags of groceries. She looked like she was going to part out. The ring of the telephone made her jump. It was Dad calling from the hospital. He told her basically the same story that Eric had, right down to Joey Costello and the problem with Mike's shoes. Joey and his parents were at the hospital and Mike had been officially pronounced dead. Dad said that everyone knew that they were in a state of shock. I know I was. I carried my bag of groceries on into the kitchen and set them down. Then I heard a strange sound. It was the sound of voices in the backyard. Happy voices. I looked through the patio doors and saw Eric and Arthur. They were laughing. I stepped closer to the doors and I could hear Eric saying, "Did you see his hair? Did you see the side of his head? He got mohawked, man." Arthur said, "Mohawked." I watched them in disbelief. How could they be happy? Who were these two people? Then I realised it. These were the two people who will benefit from Mike Costello's death, and they were celebrating it. Eric grabbed at Arthur's shoes and screamed in a high-pitched voice, "The shoes! Give me the shoes!" I turned to look for Mum. She was still in the garage on the phone with Dad. She saw none of this. She heard none of this. I turned back to watch the cruel comedy routine on the other side of the glass. There they were, Eric and a nasty friend, just like I remembered them in Houston. Nothing had changed except the name of the friend. I felt sick and confused. I asked myself, how could this happen? How could this happen to Mike Costello? He was a nice guy. He was a number 2 on the depth chart. He had already accepted into the School of Engineering at FSU. And I answered myself, here's how. Because Mike Costello didn't fit into the Eric Fisher football dream. Mike would never have been sitting out there with Eric and laughing at such a thing. And now Mike is dead. But the dream lives on. Oh, that's the end of that chapter. That was a bit of a shocking chapter. Let's share the screen and have some questions. Okay. That was the last one. Oh, no, this is the one we're doing. Okay, so number 1. What happened to Mike Costello? You need to answer that. Number 2. What did Mike's brother Joey do? And number 3. Why do you think Eric and Arthur are laughing about this horrible accident? Okay, pause the video, see if you can answer the questions, and we'll discuss it in a minute. Okay, number 1, what happened to Mike Costello? Well, according to Eric, he got hit by lightning, and that lightning killed him outright. And even though they started to try and save him, there was nothing they could do. He died instantly. Number 2, what did Mike's brother Joey do? Now, Joey is friends with Paul. He's his friend he goes to soccer practice with. So this is somebody that Paul knows quite well. But Joey, obviously in a state of shock, tried to take his shoes off for some reason and got completely hysterical, which was not probably just out of shock, something that he thought he could do to try and help him, but obviously it didn't. And number 3, why do you think Eric and Arthur are laughing about this horrible accident? Well, Paul sort of says it, doesn't he, at the end of the chapter, that these two will benefit because Mike was going to be the one who held the ball for Eric to kick on the football team. And now that Mike is not there, his best friend Arthur, or Eric's best friend Arthur, can now do that instead. But that's just a horrible thing to be laughing about someone who's died and you know, making a mockery of it and pretending that he's Joey in the squeaky voice and all. That's not very nice at all. So I think we're starting to see what Eric is really like. And also he's found somebody the same in Arthur. So I think Paul really wants his mum to find out about this, doesn't he? So she can see what Arthur's and Eric are like, really, but she never seems to be there. So he has to keep all this inside. Okay, so that's the end of Tangerine for this week. There's some tasks that I'm going to give you as well to go alongside it that you can write about. But I'll see you next week for some more Tangerine.